And this will be breaking down a dark and texture sample, and then I'm gonna show how I flipped it and how I put some drums on it to make it sound like this. Before we get into the video, definitely make sure you drop a like, subscribe to the channel, go check me out on Instagram at ProdByEvo. I just want to say thank you, Producer Crate, for making this video possible. Let's hop right into the breakdown. All right, man, so we're jumping right into the project. We got 97 BPM, and every single sound, I'm pretty sure every single sound from this sample is coming from the Cryptic bundle that's available on Producer Crate, and I'll explain more of that later in the video. But yeah, every single sound is coming from there, and yeah, this pack's fire. All right, so first thing we started with was mad simple, and it was just the static key right here, and it's called the Clean Tech, and it's coming from Panorama. Pretty much you go into Panorama, you go down to this folder 5 right here, and you got all these like experimental like one-shots and like phrases and stuff, but I grabbed this key right here, and it just sounds like this. Mad simple. It's literally playing this like kind of harmony right here, F sharp, G sharp. It's pretty dark sounding, especially when you stack these two notes like this. It usually sounds pretty dark, and that's kind of the sound I was going for. And in terms of processing, there's literally nothing on it, just like panning a little bit. And yeah, that's pretty much going on right there. And that's pretty much what I started out with. And then I wanted to add some bass line just to add more movement to the sample, kind of switch it up a little bit. Just grab this Shadow Strike bass, and it's coming from Astrotone. And it's just following the root notes here, F sharp. And at the end, it's going up by 1 semitone to the G, and it just sounds really fire. Just really dark sounding, especially when you play around with those single like half steps and stuff like that. Yeah, and the bass itself is a little textured, which I kind of like too. I just EQ'd it a little bit just to kind of boost up that textured frequency that was in there, because I really liked it. And then we got those two elements right now, and then I was like, all right, we got to add more melodic stuff in here. So then I grabbed this one shot here. It's just a static one shot, and again, it's really just playing these like root notes, kind of similar to the bass pattern. It just sounds like this. Yeah, pretty fire. The sound is like kind of like a string sound, super fire. It's coming from Panorama. And like I said, this sample is mad like simple, but it's pretty fire. Especially the flip I do on it, I think it's super tough too. Y'all definitely gonna learn something from that. And then I went into Panorama, and I grabbed this like expression, I think they're called. It's just kind of like a phrase. And I just pitched it down by 12 semitones, and then pitch it to the right key. And in terms of the effects, I'm pretty sure, yeah, just the EQ cutting out the lows, and it just sounds like this. And with everything so far, this is what it actually sounds like, and I think it all meshes together really well. Yeah, pretty fire so far. And again, really simple, but we're starting to fill out that frequency range a little bit. And then I knew I wanted to add some texture in here, so I grabbed this static one shot right here, and it just sounds like this with no effects on. So it's really simple one shot, add some delay baked into the one shot. So the one shot itself is already textured, but I knew I wanted to add some like that, like thermate kind of texture. So I made this pattern right here. Again, as you can see, kind of utilizing this like that harmony that we added before. And then we're just stacking a whole bunch of notes on. We're playing with octaves here, as you can see. There's really no rhyme or reason. Just pick a scale, stick with it, add some notes in. And as you will hear, it doesn't really matter the pattern we play because we're adding a ton of effects on. First, we got an EQ that's literally doing nothing. We got a halftime on these presets right here. So this in itself is already changing the sound a lot. Then an EQ cut out those lows. And then the thing that really like transforms this is this illusions right here on the Sonar preset. I think I tweak some things around, so if you really like the sound of this, you can copy down these settings. I'm pretty sure I tweaked these sounds. You can also use Lotus, but I decided to use Illusions because usually I use Lotus all the time. But again, I just wanted to switch it up a little bit, kind of get out of my comfort zone. Very similar plugin. I do think Lotus is better though. But yeah, these are the settings right here. And then I rendered out the melody so I can bake those effects in. And then I just did a simple chopping right here at the beginning. And this is what the affected sound sounds like. And with everything, it sounds really tough, so I'll just play it all together. Now we added that texture. You already know, gotta add the texture in there. It's pretty much a must-have in sample making. And then the last 3 sounds that I added, or I guess 4 sounds. Well, first of all, I added this noise in. It's coming from Astrotone, and I love adding noise in just to build some atmosphere. Pretty quiet, but again, you can definitely feel it in the sample. And then the last 3 things I added was I dragged in these one shots from Panorama, and I just dragged them into the playlist, and I pitched them to F sharp as the root note we're in. And I just kind of placed these around. I don't think I added many effects on any of these, except the one, which I'll get into in a second. Just cutting out lows here. And then I believe, oh, then this one got some Valhalla delay. Grab this preset right here with these settings, super fire. And then I grabbed in this fuel cell one shot. I don't have the original recording of the one shot, but I processed it with this chain here, and you can copy this down, a pretty fire chain. Got this dirty delays from delay tape, got this EQ, cut out some lows, and then some auto chroma. And this is on a little washed up preset right here. And then I rendered that out, and it got me this like really cool texture. I think it sounds really cool with those effects. And the one shot itself was already textured. So that's what the one shot sounded like before. So as you can see, already textured, super fire off the rip, but I wanted to put those effects on just to add a bunch of texture, and this is what it sounds like. And yeah, it's very atmospheric, and with the whole sample, it sounds super fire. Then the last thing we got, and this is just like this like really cool reverse sound, and I love this sound so much. Probably my favorite like expression or phrase in this pack so far. Yeah, I think it's super fire to add at like the end of the bars, just so it kind of transitions. I think it sounds really cool. And yeah, that's pretty much for the whole sample. Last thing I added was just this piano from Contact. And this is just the Gentleman piano. And I just want to add these like really high notes in. So just utilizing these octaves here with the F sharp, and then just utilizing the half steps again. And we're stacking up on octaves. And I think high pianos like this sound so fire. And I love doing this with my samples. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the sample. I didn't do anything in terms of like pitching stuff around yet. But again, we're going to get to the sample flip in a second. But this is what the sample sounds like. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for the sample, but I knew I wanted to flip this, and we're gonna get into that in a second. But first, talk about Producer Crate. So again, thank you for Producer Crate for making this video possible, and they actually sent these packs out. And you can find the Cryptic bundle on the website, and it comes with Panorama, it comes with Astrotone, 2 things we use in the sample already, and we'll get into more sound design with that stuff, with the drums and stuff like that. But also comes with Patterns, which is super fire, like getting those ideas down. And there's a bunch of percussion loops, drum loops, texture loops, and Off Grid, which is another like drum collection with a bunch of like drum loops and stuff. So if you're looking for drum loops, you're gonna be stacked up with this pack. You also get another pack. You get Psychokinesis, which I did not use in this sample. This is a super crazy pack. This has the most experimental drum sounds. So if you're looking for that like cryptic sound, I'm not gonna lie, this kit is crazy, and there's a ton of really cool experimental stuff in there. Ton of sounds, I'm not gonna lie. This is a go-to bundle. And usually this bundle is like $200 some. However, I got a great offer for you guys. So if you're interested in purchasing this pack, you can go check out the link down below in the description. You're gonna get this one for $75, but you can also use code EVIL at checkout, and you're gonna another, I think 10 or 15% off. And yeah, you're gonna get a great discount on 5 kits that are completely fire. And even Producer Crate in general, if you're not really messing with this kit in particular, you can go check out their website. They got new sample packs coming out and bundles coming out every single Friday. And they run some great deals all the time, especially with this Producer Cryptic bundle coming out right now. And if you want to check out this bundle and Producer Crate's website, you can go check it out down below. And yeah, use code EVIL at checkout, and you're gonna get some percentage off. So I don't know why you wouldn't do that. But yeah, let's hop right back into the video. All right, so now for the sample flip, and this is where all the sauce comes in. It's probably what y'all want to hear. But I'm about to show y'all a technique that is super fire, and I've been doing this for a while, I'm not gonna lie. So first thing I did was render out the melody and consolidated it. So that's the step 1, consolidate the melody. highlight everything, Control, Alt, and C, consolidate that shit. And then I went into here and I reversed the sample. That's also crucial. Reverse the sample and repitch it. Make it sound a little bit different. But that's not where we stop at. I'm gonna go into a mixer track. Gonna add a tau filter just to add some more rhythm to it, kind of that pulsing feel. This is a free plugin. Don't sleep on it. But then the real sauce, I'm not gonna lie, the real sauce, halftime, but not how you typically would use it. So grab these settings right here. You're gonna put the fade in at 16 bars. You can pick any of these like loop modes and modes right here, but then put this effects all the way down to 500 milliseconds. Now we're gonna open up an Edison and click record. And we're gonna play this melody through, and you're gonna change the loop mode or the modes on the tempo. You know what I'm saying? So if our tempo is like this, like you just saw. Do it to the tempo. All right, add some rhythm to when you're changing the halftime. Don't put the metronome on because it's gonna record the metronome. So like now we got the metronome built in, but whatever. And then this is the halftime melody. What you wanna do after the fact is add a D-click on right here. I like to use this RX D-click. I'm sure there's some free options out there too. And I added another tau filter. And then I just chopped up the sample and to make it sound like this, I'll preview it in a second. I chopped up the sample and I actually unreversed it. So I reversed it again to make it sound normal. I don't know why I did that. You don't have to do that. I think it sounded better. I pitched it up by 7 semitones. And this is what it sounds like with the whole flip. It sounds like this. So yeah, that's the melody for the flip. And then we added some drums on top. We added a hi-hat in. We got this autotroph hi-hat. And without the effects on, this is what it sounds like. I made a pretty simple pattern, pretty bouncy pattern. As you can see, we're playing with a lot of velocities. And if you guys watch my drum bounce tutorial, kind of talked about this too. Play with the shift knob right here. You're gonna add a lot of bounce to your samples or to your drums. But you can also manually shift. I decided to use the shift knob. But yeah, this is what the hi-hats sound like without the effects on. And to spice these up, the sound itself is already goated, but to spice it up, just make it a little more experimental, I went to Effectrix and grabbed this Drummer's Lab preset. It just looks like this, and this is now what it sounds like. And I don't know if I said this, but this is coming from Astrotone. Pretty much all these drums are coming from Astrotone. And Astrotone got the best, like, they're more like trap sounding drums, but they're mad unique. Like, you get a lot of unique stuff in that kit. And that's been one of my go-tos. I'm not gonna lie, the Astrotone kit has been one of my go-tos. And especially when you pair it up with some of the other sounds, like the texture loops from Patterns, or like the experimental stuff from Panorama or Psychokinesis, you can create some really cool stuff. I grabbed this rim shot and some of this other percussion. I'm just gonna play it through right here. Sounds like this. You guys can hear we have a plate reverb on the drum bus. This EMT small preset on the rev plate, very, very minimal. We got 3 different 808s, and this is what the 808 pattern sounds like. First 808, actually this is not the first one. First 808 is this Trogan Metrics 808. It's just playing this B pretty much over and over again. And then the second 808 is this NZT 808. I love this one, and I just boosted the volume a little bit because it was a little like subby. And I kind of wanted this like call and response. So it was like the first 808, and then it goes to the second 808, and it goes back to the first one. And actually what I forgot to do is mute these last notes for that first 808. But honestly, when they're layered together, kind of sounds fire. Like it adds some more impact to the 808. So I don't even really mean to do that. So happy accident right there. And then for the kick, it's just this transference kick. This shit is actually hitting mad hard. And I just had it hitting at the 1. really simple. And then this 808. Again, we got this Trogan Metrics 808, but as you can see, we're gonna go into here. Played around with these settings right here. We boosted a lot, start offset, pretty much all we did, but this like reverse effect, pretty much what I did was you wanna mute, you're gonna add 2 notes, one slide note up an octave, but the bottom note right here, you wanna mute it. So that slide note is gonna slide kind of the volume, you know what I mean? So it just sounds like this. The last thing I did to add more texture to the drums was I rendered out the percussion right here, then I opened it up and I got a EFX Fragments preset, this Atmos Riser preset, and I rendered it out and I chopped it up to make it sound like this. And I love using fragments, and I know Cryptic does this a lot too. He runs a lot of that stuff through fragments to kind of create some cool drum texture. That's exactly what I did with this one. I think it sounds really cool with the whole thing. And then the very last thing, went to Astrotone, grabbed this pan, tom, pitched it down an octave, and it's just playing at the end, just kind of like a fill almost. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the whole beat. And I'm going to preview this in 3 seconds, but for the master, this is how you get your drums to hit. I'm not gonna lie. Disc tube culture, tape setting right here, fire. Saturn with these settings, very minimal, super fire. Shout out Sicky for showing me this. And then low, mid, rescue, and soft clipper. That's how you get your mix to hit. That's pretty much it for the whole breakdown. I'm gonna preview the sample right now, and I'll see you guys after. Bro, that's mad fire, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the video, man. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys learned something. And I honestly, biggest takeaway of this video, 1, go grab the kit, man. The kit's fire. 2, be experimental with some stuff you do. Don't do typical things. Even when I flip the melody, just do some weird half timing things like I did. You can do that same trick with effects, which I'm gonna have a reel coming out with that very soon. Here's some really cool tools to add to your tool belt, pretty much. That's pretty much the goal of making these videos. And also showing you guys some really cool sounds. And like I said, you can go cop this whole bundle way less than 50% off. I think it's like, you're gonna get like almost $130 off or something with this whole bundle if you guys use the link down below and also my code. And yeah, if you haven't already, go check out my Instagram. If you like the video, definitely like the video, man. That helps out a lot. And let me know what you guys think down below. I'm gonna pick a couple of the commenters to send my new kit to if you comment what you guys think of the video. What do you guys think of the sample? And yeah, that's pretty much it for the video. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. And I'll catch y'all in the next one.